let's paint the picture. Let's get into the context here. So you look at like a 14, 15-year old high school boy, and you're going through all the high school boy things. But there's also this like porn lust thing at the back of your mind as well. That's just like lingering in the background. And so we kind of grow from that and we get through high school where it's like, well, this is not really a good thing to be doing, but I'm still doing it. And I remember, like, in my case, I got to a point in time, like maybe 15, 16, I don't know, where like I genuinely just like, I was like, no, man, like this is just doesn't make sense. Like, why am I doing this? And not necessarily having the full conviction that I would have later on. I remember like the one thing that I did try to do was No Nut November, where I've never had to explain No Nut November formally. This is crazy business. No Nut November. Now you have to explain to people what a nut is. This is crazy. No Nut November is basically, yo, God help me out here. No Nut November is basically for the month of November. Guys typically would commit not to ejaculate. You try to use the formal word and it's just but yeah, No November was a thing that we do. I try and like invite some of my friends to do it. Sometimes they did it. Honestly, I can only like think of once. The other times it's just like nah. But I think there was like a small like little attempt or like small little moments of saying like, okay, this thing doesn't actually quite make sense. But the sin is still lingering. Like it's not like sorted. So some No Nut Novembers are like cool, successful. We don't, yeah, we don't not I hate that. But others don't go as well, and so the porn thing, the masturbation still comes in during No Nut November. And I remember getting to like a point in high school where now the sex thing comes up, where we're getting older, the attraction is there, and then we also like get into situations where we can have sex. Like you go to enough parties, you go to enough things where things can happen essentially. And thank God that hadn't happened at that point in time, where I know the desire was there, but it wasn't like it wasn't that strong. And so I remember like being in a moment where like I almost then would have essentially had sex with this person, and I was like really young, but I didn't, so that was like, oh, not really, so that was great. And then yeah, like we kind of go through, get through high school, and it's good, it's great, lovely. And so you do the things, the teenage boy things, you pass what it is, get into varsity, great, thank God. And so things go really well, and I remember getting into varsity, meet some of like my closest mates to this day. And it's so funny because I remember at some point in varsity, I was chatting with some of my friends, and we had like made this like pact, like this deal, this like game plan is maybe the best way to put it. A bunch of guys, like I think 4 or 5 of us at the time, and so the game plan was this, right? In first year, we're gonna mess around. Second year, we'll mess around, but we'll also start scouting for future. And then third year is like, okay, cool, get your bay and dip. Which is like such an interesting thing now. But basically, it's actually like not a good thing either, because it's easy to say, oh, we'll mess around. Like when you keep things vague, it's like, okay, cool, we kind of like mask out the bad in it. But like, what does mess around mean? Like, genuinely speaking, what does it mean when you say, oh, I'm gonna mess around? Like, I mean, that doesn't even sound good, right? So mess around, like what? Like, let's speak plainly. Like, oh, we're gonna have sex with multiple people. Maybe not the sex chat, or we're gonna date multiple people. In other case, like what are you doing, kind of thing. So I hate to be that guy, but also I don't hate to be that guy. Like, let's call a spade a spade. We're not, no cookie cutter, none of that. But that was a game plan, and I find it funny now. Mess around. Second year, mess around less. Third year, you've kind of like found the person that you're gonna be with, because the idea is that 3-year degree, finish in 3 years. The not knowing that 3-year degree can take 7 years, 3-year degree can be an honors and a master's at a, right? We don't know. We're young at this point in time. And so we make this pact, and all the boys, yeah, sure, 100%, yeah, chief, yeah. It's hype, it's a good time. Um, then we go into June, July holidays, and I remember I went to, there was a restaurant called, I think it's called Tribeca, if I'm not mistaken. More of Africa side. We go to a restaurant with my mom, and the girl chat comes up somehow. I don't know who. I didn't bring it up, but it came up, and then my mom just starts spitting game. Like, okay, listen, Kathy, like a woman, ha ha ha, like randomly, right? But I'm like, I listened to him. I'm like, okay, bet, say less. And then I kid you not, like I don't think I've said this to anyone. I kid you not, less than a week after, my mom and I had this chat less than a week after. I'd be like on long phone calls with the girl. I'd eventually make my girlfriend at the time. So it was really interesting. Like we just spoke about girls, and then boom, here we are. This girl was cool, man. She was great. She's amazing. Don't think this is the podcast where we're gonna badmouth people. It's not. Although if I did this a couple years prior, before a certain level of maturity, then things could have been haywire. So there's this girl, and this girl's awesome, and she's smart, and she's pretty, and she's like, it's just the things, man. And she just seems like so upright and solid. And so like we're in this like kind of position where we're not dating, but we're definitely talking, right? That's what people say. And it's that kind of situation. And I remember the one time fetched her from like her res, we went back to my res, so I was staying in res at the time. And we hung out. It was a good time. Watched the movie. Genuinely watched the movie. Nothing weird as well. Now I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not that embarrassed about it. That's the thing. And I'm with this girl. And like it's just a good time. And then eventually like something in me says like, nah, like let's let's kind of progress this. So I lean in for a kiss. All right. And it wasn't like premeditated, or wasn't like the game plan. Like I just genuinely enjoyed this person's company, but somehow the feelings inside are saying, hey buddy, like, yeah. And so I lean in for a kiss, and this girl kind of like backs away. But what she says is dope. She says, hey Gatli, just so you know, I'm not one of those girls. Fair enough. And it wasn't awkward at all. She said what she had to say. She was proper. She was direct, respectful, whatever. And it was so calm. I was like, listen, like, fair enough. I get it. It's cool. It's calm. Wasn't awkward at all. We like had a giggle about it. Jiggy, we were holding hands, whatever. Because we're not dating at the time. Like, this is still very new. And then I walked her back to a place or whatever, and that was done. And I remember like at that point in time, like instantly I'm like, oh, I really like her. Like I really like her. Which was really cool. And so this is first year varsity. Things are going well. I mean, it was freshers, so it's fun, it's the mates, it's going out for this thing, it's buying this food, like it's really exploring a new city as well. But remember, the title of the very first video of the series speaks about lust and porn, right? So we haven't overcome that. And so in this, I suppose, like sphere of like all the good things happening or whatever, the devil comes in. And that there's a scripture that says, give no room for the devil. At this point in time, not knowing scripture, not understanding these things, it wasn't a matter of I didn't give room, or I would have given room to the devil. If anything, at full access, the door was open, the room was open. And so at that point in time, in a very lovely situation, the devil comes in. So this is awful, man. So I met this girl, and she's cool, and she's great, and she's this, and she's this, and she's that. Now, when we talk about the devil comes in, please don't think it's like some red horns, pitchfork. Like that's not what it is. Instead, the devil is the one that tries to take you away from God in all aspects. And so this is the one that says, God said this, well, I'm gonna say that. Right? I think of the whole thing with Adam and Eve, like it's the same thing that plays out. If people think, oh, this Adam and Eve story is like so cliche and boring, first of all, it's history, but second of all, it's the same like thing throughout like human history, right? So there's that. So I'm with this girl, and I think she's great. Now, remember this porn thing that was just in the background? It's still there. And so what happens is now these like all these desires, and I've got a girlfriend now, but I'm watching porn, and I've got a girlfriend, whatever. And so naturally, you'd see where this is going. Now, here's what happens. At this point in time, Katlego is a Christian boy, right? I go to church. I read my Bible on Sundays at the time. And I definitely believe in a God, but I don't know my God. All right, I didn't know this at the time, but I didn't know God. The funny thing is, like right before I'd meet this girl, I literally when I dread, so I cut my hair, which is funny because I cut my hair now. And it was literally the same time I got this tattoo as well. So Christian, a cross tattoo and everything. But yeah, the whole porn thing is existing. And so the devil comes in, right? There's a scripture that speaks to say that the devil is It's quite like, it's rough, that scripture. It says, the devil is the father of lies, and so when he speaks lies, this is not out of his character. And so I say it's rough because, like, right in the beginning of the verse, it says something like, "You are the son of the devil," or "You are the son of your father who is the devil," which is why, like, you sin because he sins, kind of thing. It's a really, like, really interesting scripture. And so this is how this works, right? Because people think, "Oh, I can't be fooled, I can't be deceived." Okay, fine. Now, at this point in time, like I said, I have a knowledge of God. I have a knowledge of some scripture, and one of those scriptures is knowing that somewhere in the Bible it says that you shouldn't have sex before marriage. I don't know which book, I don't know Old Testament, New Testament, I don't know the context. I just know that somewhere in the Bible it says you shouldn't have sex before marriage. I know this. Like, I know this. This isn't a matter of I'm not sure. I know this at this point in time. Now, at the same time, I am convinced that I'm going to marry this girl, not on some I'm trying to flatter her or like seem a certain way to people. Genuinely speaking, I remember, like, when I was like, I'd introduce her to some of my friends. I'd be like, "Oh, guys, like, this is the girl I'm going to marry," kind of thing. Like, real talk. Like, I was convinced. At the time, I used to like make a lot of to-do lists. Like, if you guys know me personally, I used to make a lot of to-do lists at the time. Go to class at this time, shower, gym, do this, do that, whatever, hang out with this person, call this person, check up on this, like, to-do list for everything. And I remember, like, after a while, having met this girl, I literally just ticked off, like, find a wife. I just, like, ticked it off. I'm like, cool, we're blessed, it's good. And so I know, back to this thing, and so I know that somewhere in the Bible it says no sex before marriage. But now at the same time, I'm convinced I want to marry this girl. So two premises: don't have sex before marriage. I'm gonna marry this girl in the future. And here's where the thinking and the deception comes in. Therefore, because I'm gonna marry this girl in the future, this is like an advance. I can have sex with her now. It's calm because I'm gonna marry her in any case, right? And I'm not saying this as like a point of judgment to anyone that's watching this, and they would have been in that. A lot of people have. You're not the only one, so relax. It's not a point of judgment, but what we're not gonna do is pretend like sin isn't sin, because we're not supposed to do that. So that's the one deception. And so that happens. That being sex with someone where I'm not supposed to be having sex with them. For as long as I'm not married to that person, what I'm doing is disobedience. It's wrong. It's sin. Once again, no judgment, but like, let's move on. Like, let's educate each other. Let's move on. Let's progress. The second thing that happens is at some point in time, I remember, once again, like, I had really strong feelings for this woman. And so I remember I think the social status is still the same now. But basically, when a guy gets with a lot of women, I'm not speaking to my mates, because when a guy has sex with a lot of people or women or whatever, the guy is like cool, gangster, he's player, he's dope, he's smooth, he's fresh, he's got riz, yeah, all of that. But when a girl does it, it's like, what is it? Awful, bothersome, busy, slut, whore. That's more like it, right? And so that was the condition of society at the time. And to be fair, I don't think anything's changed, or I don't think much has changed. And so that's the condition that we have at this point in time. Now, I see this girl and I'm saying she's amazing, she's great, she's lovely. And so for me, she's an equal. Now, once again, there's two premises here. Society has got this unequal treatment of, I suppose, sexual behavior between genders. So unequal treatment, sexual behavior. I see this girl as an equal. She's like, it's me and her all the way. Somehow from these two premises, we get to the conclusion that, okay, cool, then we could have sex. Because we're both partaking in it, and so, like, we're even, kind of thing, and it shows equality, that every time we do it, we're doing it together. Like, just, I can't explain it to this day, like, just some nonsense, man. But the point that I'm making here is that the devil's whole thing is to distort things, right? And that he doesn't have the power to make anything, but what he will try to do is distort things that are existing. And so you look at, like, the social vibe at the time, and like, even me knowing what the scripture says, but then somehow just trying to weave a way to, like, just cause you to sin, essentially. And so that relationship ends at some point in time. Fair enough, it is what it is. But to talk about, like, deception and how there's a difference between my truth and the truth, at some point in time as well, I remember this is like at a later stage in time, and so there's another woman that comes in the picture, another girl, And so we have sex as well. Not saying this to like seem cool or gangster, because this is awful, right? And the thing is, I had no intention ever of like marrying this girl. I wasn't even dating this girl. And I say this to say, if you go back to like the first girlfriend kind of thing, even if genuinely it was a matter of God, I really thought this is like an advanced thing. I'm gonna marry this woman, so allow me to, we'll have sex now, but I'm gonna marry her, so it's calm. Even if that was the case, how would I justify it the second time where I had no intentions of marrying this girl, of like having a long term relationship with this person? Yet here we are, kind of thing. And so we see this now sin that where it was started from, I suppose, like this lust, right? When we talk about porn, what we're really talking about is lust. And this lust manifests itself in porn, and the sex thing was did relatively well not to get into it. And then eventually in first year with this person it happens, and now it happens again. And so the scripture for that it's crazy. Sin begets more sin, and sin when it is fully matured leads to death. And death came.